Hey, you. You're finally awake.
G'day Smut Squad and welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at the NES once again, or the Famicom if you want to be more exact. Because today we're going overseas to Japan and looking at the games that were only ever released for that console. Now it's a shame because some of these games would have been right at home, but unfortunately they never made their way to the West. Before we go any further, if you think I deserve it, please remember to hit that like, hype, and subscribe button, as well as listen to the weekly podcast and join our free Discord. As always, these aren't the best, these aren't the worst, they're just the selection I've picked, and if there's ones I need to talk about, please let me know in the comments below. Now also to let you know that there'll be no gurus in this video. No, my house is safely locked up, so he's not getting in. But let's get into it, shall we? Some NES games that were only ever released in Japan. Booby Kids. Now you can imagine why I picked this game, and it is because I'm a big child, and the name itself was what drew me in. Now, this is meant to be around booby traps. Yes, booby traps. So what you do is actually you trap your enemies in pits, which I think is quite cool, to be honest. The point of the game is to find all the collectibles in each level. Do that and you'll be able to move on. But obviously enemies are trying to get you, so you put your booby traps down, which is able to stop them getting you. It's one hit and you're dead though, so make sure you get everyone with your booby traps. The music's very catchy, and you can also get bombs like Bomberman, and I love Bomberman, which is amazing, because yeah, we all love Bomberman on this show. However, there is a bonus game which kind of sucks here, where you got to dig for monsters. You get the O and you can move on, get the X and you have to do the whole level again. Now, that's a bit of an odd design choice, like who thought that was a good idea? Yeah, we're just going to put this bonus game in here which makes them redo the whole bloody level. Although the box art was done by Akira Toriyama, so, you know, that's another pro. But also it's got Booby in the name. Hehe, I'm so mature. Kyatoo, Ninden, Teyandee. I probably butchered that last word and I apologise. Now we know this as Samurai Pizza Cats, which was one of the best TV shows I'd ever seen as a kid, and hardly anyone I know has actually ever seen it, which I think is a bit of a crime. Now this, you choose one of the three cats and they all have their own abilities. One of them digs, one of them breaks things, and one of them can fly. For an NES game, it looks pretty decent, and it does feel very anime-ish. It literally screams the TV show, so you actually feel like you're playing one of the episodes, which I think is quite cool. Oh yeah, it's Tecmo, the same people who did Ninja Gaiden. Like, I would have loved to play this back as a kid. I think we all would have loved to play this back as a kid. Put a like if you thought you would have liked to play this back when you were a goddamn kid. And let's all praise the fact that we are getting a Samurai Pizza Cats game. I think it's this year, so I'm going to be very happy. And hopefully a new cartoon, so I can show my daughter and son when he's a little bit older. Splatterhouse, Wanpaku, Graffiti. I probably butchered that as well. It's a Splatterhouse game, but when you're looking at this, it looks all cutesy. Aren't those games meant to be extremely gory and violent? Well, yeah, kind of. It was released in 1989, and it's a bit of a cheapy spin-off, kind of like Mighty Final Fight. And fans of the series are still gonna like it. Like, they definitely will. If you like Splatterhouse, it's part of it. Now here, an evil pumpkin takes your girlfriend when you've just been revived. Okay? An evil pumpkin. That's what we're gonna go with. I've seen some things in my day, but an evil pumpkin. Whatever, fine. Who cares? Look, let's just be honest about this. It's Splatterhouse, but more chibi-like. It's very basic, it's not gory, it takes fun at itself, and I can't complain. I think it's one of those, if you're a fan of the series, you're definitely going to like this. If not, you might think there are other games to play, but I think you should still give it a go. It's cutesy, and your kids can play it, because the original Splatterhouse games were a little bit too violent for me when I was growing up. Well, that's what my mum said. She would say, no, Daniel, you can't play that, although she somehow let us get Mortal Kombat out. Just, I don't know, just look at that concept, it's just weird, I know. Ganbare Goemon. Now, the Goemon games have hardly seen anything in the West. He's only ever seen 3 times, once on the Super Nintendo and twice on the N64 in his own game. I know there's a kart racer on the Game Boy Advance for anyone shouts at me. But in Japan, he's everywhere. There was over 30 games. But this was his first big game. Now, I know there was an arcade game, but it was the NES Ganbare Goemon, which he really shone. In this game, you basically go across the world and you must find 3 passes to get you across each level. Now, Goemon is kind of like a Robin Hood-esque character, where he basically steals from the rich to give to himself. Although, if there's a woman, he kind of collects them. Yeah, I don't... Is that a haram? Or is that illegal? Is that the word, haram? I'm not sure. Harem? I don't know. Either way, I don't think you can just kidnap women. Kinda not allowed. Now, the money you do steal from the men, you use for power-ups, or you can use for the passes. It's completely up to you. The game is quite good looking for an early Famicom game, although the platforming sections aren't fun. Very slippy and you can just slide off the edges. Keep to the side-scrolling bits, they're way more fun. But either way, this is what got Goemon on the map and made him such a big iconic star he is in Japan. It's just a shame we don't see more of him in the West. Robocco Wars. Made by Taito, so many people are going to be thinking, oh god, what's this going to be? It's actually quite a good looking game and was the thumbnail that I selected for this video, because I'm not going to lie, that little robot R10, he looks pretty cool. Now you're basically Lance and you're trying to save the world with your little robot R10, but it's kind of a bit of a side-scrolling shmup water thing. Yeah, it's a bit all over the place, it has 3 different types of styles, but R10 himself is not what you think. I was expecting, being a robot, he was going to be heavy and very slow to travel. No, he's not. He's quite fast and he's quite floaty. And I was like, wow, he's just like a normal character. And as I said, there are different ways you can play the game, whether it's underwater, whether it's the platforming, or whether it's a shmup game. It doesn't look too bad, it's quite cutesy, it doesn't do anything too offensive, and there are 10 stages in the game. However, a lot of people really struggle towards the end of the game because the difficulty really ramps up. It's like, well, get good, kid, because if you want to finish this game, that's the only way you're going to do it. Again, it's nothing too offensive, I just put it in here because I thought it looked quite cool. I know Kyatoo have this weird reputation, but I thought this was a cute little game that I wanted to put in the list. Wai Wai World 2. Now, we can all say that Smash Bros. Started the big crossover with having video game characters in. Well, it's very easy to say that because it is considered the one. However, I think Wai Wai World are the ones who did it. Yes, Konami. Because the first one was a side-scrolling adventure where you could select different characters to do the different, worlds that were based on the different games. Here, it's a little bit different. You play as an android to save the princess, and here you can transform into certain games, and there are a range of characters from Castlevania, Goemon, Twin Bee, Contra, and others, which is pretty cool. Although I just stick with Goemon and Castlevania for obvious reason, but you want to try and switch it around because each character has their own playstyles. So obviously you either have a whip with Castlevania, with Mr. Belmont, or you get to have a Contra with a gun, so make it what you want. It's a shame we didn't get Wai Wai World 1 and 2 over into the West, but I suppose because some of those licenses hadn't actually made their way to the actual Western market, we didn't know what they were. Sure, we knew what Castlevania and Contra were, but did we know what Goemon was? And would they want to send over something with a franchise that nobody has any idea what it was? Probably not. But the game looks absolutely fantastic. And there are also shmup levels, so we all know on this channel, I'm screwed. And finally, Getsu Fuma Den. This is a Castlevania-esque game, but what really drew me to this was the story to begin with. Listen to this. The story begins in the year 14,672 AD. That's oddly specific, and it's a distant future that looks like ancient mythological Japan. How does that happen? Now, apparently the demon lord Ryotsuki, I think I've got that right, has escaped the 1,000-year-old imprisonment in the underworld, and upon his arrival he decimates the world above and plunges humanity into darkness. Okay, what happened in 13,000 AD? What was going on? Are we at World War XI? If anyone gets that reference, thank you very much, I am very proud of myself. Now, this is where it gets even cooler. The Getsu brothers, a trio of legendary warriors who protected the land, rise to stop him. Armed with 3 pulse blades, the Hadoken, mythical swords that are passed down through their lineage, they descend into the underworld to confront Ryotsuki. However, the brothers are defeated, with 2 of them being killed, and the 3 pulse blades are stolen and scattered across the various demon-infested lands. The player takes control of Fuma, who is the youngest and sole surviving brother, and he has to basically get all 3 blades to basically beat Ryotsuki. That is a kick-ass intro story. That's cool. I like that. Grim start, your brothers are dead, the world fooked. I like it. The game presents itself as kind of like a Castlevania with a side-scrolling adventure to it, but there's also an overworld where you can go in and out of caves. But once you get to the islands themselves and you start exploring and eventually you go try and find the Hadoken or the part of the Hadoken, it goes to like a 3D dungeon crawler. That's really cool, so different styles of gameplay and it all makes sense. Now, Fuma himself does move a lot faster than Mr. Belmont, and he jumps a lot better as well, and that can be praised. He also doesn't have the big-ass knockback. Stupid Belmont with his stupid knockback. you could point out that his design looks quite basic. However, what you should be praising is the fact that there's no flicker to this game and the enemy designs are really good. There's an RPG element to the game to make you stronger, so there can be a bit of a grind, but once you do find all 3 parts of the Hadouken blade, you're laughing because that grind just becomes nothing because you can just start firing Hadouken waves. Regardless, this is a really good game, and I think if you're into Castlevanias, you're gonna be drawn to this straight away. However, we did receive a follow-up game that came out in 2022 on the Nintendo Switch, and I didn't know this at the time, and I'll be immediately downloading this, and it's called Getsu Fuma Den Undying Moon. I will definitely be having a look at this, so if you've got a Nintendo Switch or on Steam, it's over there. Don't know what it's gonna be like, I wanna play it, it looks cool. But that's it, some NES games that were never released outside Japan. What do you think of this list? Are the ones I need to talk about? And if so, let me know in the comments below. And please, 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 if you like this, please give it a like and a hype, because YouTube, unfortunately, are not liking longer forms of videos and they're highlighting shorts only, so it would really help this channel grow. Until then, I'll see you all in a few days for another video. My name's been Danny, take care of yourself, follow your dreams.